Hi, my name is Ben. I'm doing my research, my hate speech project on the LGBT community and discrimination against them. So when I was a young boy, about age 9 or 10, I had some friends that I always hung out with. And one day there was a new kid in class. And the kid was a little bit off, a little bit different than us, and didn't really quite fit in. And so one day my friends thought it would be a good idea to go and, kind of make fun of the boy for the way he walked and talked. And so my friends would go up to the boy and ask him like, "Oh, like, why do you walk so girly?" Or like, "Do you like guys and girls?" And I of course I didn't chime in on the fun, but like, um, my friends made this comment. One of my particular friends made this comment that I kind of remembered that stood out to me the most, and he was like, "Oh, wow, you're such a faggot." And so to me, at the time, I didn't really think much of it, because I was about 9 or 10, didn't really even know about anything. But I thought to myself, so what? So what if he's a little bit different? It didn't really bother me. It didn't really bother anyone else. It didn't seem to be much of a problem, you know. So that's why I want to research this project is because when I was a young age, I didn't know why it bothered people so much to be different or have different values and interests. And so today's project, I'll be talking about the discrimination against the LGBT community and everywhere in our community, everywhere we go, all over the nation, we have LGBTQ members everywhere, even in our universities, schools we go to, they're everywhere. And coming out of the closet is becoming more of an acceptance around us. And so I want to explore this problem. And so we'll start off with the causes of discrimination. And I have here, hopefully you guys can see, but this is a little PowerPoint I made. Causes of discrimination. One of them is because they are seen as different or out of the norm. And so, uh, in Rose Sachs's article, she says that at a young age, LGBTQ members LGBTQ behaviors are seen as shameful, and that when people do these acts, they should be, discriminated against, and it's not accepted. It's not socially accepted, and so at a young age, people are taught to be feared from this. Even LGBTQ members themselves, individuals, they are taught to be scared to come out of the closet, and that's why at a young age a lot of people question themselves whether or not they should come out of the closet. Yeah. And so in Marilyn's study, it also goes against their beliefs, other people's beliefs and values. And so the reason why some people fear LGBTQ behaviors and members is because it goes against their values and their beliefs, like heterosexuals that believe that homosexuality isn't right. That's wrong. That's different. So that's not. So they don't accept it, and that puts fear into them because they are different. And so we go on to the next. So discrimination of the LGBTQ. We'll just analyze some of the discrimination towards the LGBTQ community. And so Seelman's study on college students, it says that Seelman's study on college students, mostly transgender are affected, but you can find many forms of discrimination against them, mainly physical discrimination, sexual, and threats of violence towards the LGBTQ community members in universities. And in one of Seelman's studies, he finds that mostly transgender are affected by discrimination, or more, or the rate of discrimination is higher against transgender than cisgenders. And and also in Seelman's study, he finds that he researches the negative outcomes of discrimination, and he finds that LGBTQ individuals are affected by discrimination. It affects their stress and anxieties. It also affects their stress, so it gives stress on individuals that have individuals of LGBTQ community. And in Maryland's study, she notes that the youth is exposed to health issues, mental issues, and psychological issues that could lead to suicide or other sorts of self-harm. And that's because of marginalization and stuff like that, and isolation. And so we continue on at the end of that and continue on to possible solutions for the LGBTQ community. So the first step we need to take is addressing the problem. And in the article, at community forum, students demand administrative action regarding systematic racism at Western. That article, the students, even though it wasn't LGBTQ specifically related, the students stepped forth and addressed the problems, addressed that they felt unsafe, addressed that they wanted the Western community to do something, Western officials to do something about how they felt unsafe on campus and the racism that was happening there. And so that's what we first need to do, is to address the problem. And they also noted other things as even why do we get texts of voyeurism but not texts of racism and homophobic and such. And so the next is to educate and give more opportunities. So we, in the article, Sexual Assault Survivors Say Western Communities Should Do More by Asia Feuds and Melissa McCarthy. The students here, there were two victims that came forth with their story about being sexually assaulted. And they said that some of them were not even aware that they were sexually assaulted. And so I believe giving more education on what LGBTQ discrimination is, to give people an education of what is discrimination and what can be considered towards discrimination towards LGBTQ members. And one of the victims say that they didn't know where to go to seek help and where to go to tell their story. And so giving people that are discriminated against, especially LGBTQ members, an opportunity to tell their stories, to share their experiences, and to share their problems, that is a big step that we can take into helping people be more aware and educating people about it. And the next is community to support. In the article, Frontline Addressing Homelessness Takes the Whole Community by the Western Front Online, they address, even though it's not about LGBTQ, they also take the step of, they say the statement of, even though the city acknowledges homelessness in Bellingham, it takes a community to support it, to support the actions that need to happen to make a solution happen. And so I believe that the community, even though we have the ideas, even though we have, the will, we need to initiate, we need people to actually support us to get these ideas going, to get these solutions, to make these solutions happen. And I believe that a community to support behind our ideas, to communicate together, to educate, it will help solve our problem of LGBTQ discrimination. And so I believe that addressing the problem, educating our community, giving more opportunities to victims of discrimination, and having a community support us, along with communication, I believe that we can solve the LGBTQ discrimination, or at least help the people that are being discriminated against, and make people feel safer in the Western community. And that is my project. Thank you very much.